Hello and welcome, one and all. This is MicktheOtr, and I hope everyone here is doing well today. Whether you are or aren't, please accept this otter. It's guaranteed to make your day better. Today, I wanted to take another look at the Arsenal of the Gods. It's been a hot minute since we have, and this time, I want to do so with what we folks here in the South call a twofer. We will be discussing Hades' personal tools, the Helm of Darkness, and the Bident of Hades. Two artifacts older than time. Well, almost. Anyway, so without further ado, let's carry on. Both of these divine artifacts originate from way back, since before Greece's Titanomachy. Check it out. So a long time ago, Uranus, the primordial deity of the sky, thought that Gaia, the primordial of the earth, was looking extra fine and decided to knock her up extra hard. Fast forward the 9 months, years, or even millennia that it took for her to give birth, and she plops out 20 kids. You've got the OG 12 Titans, the 3 Cyclopes, and the 3 Hecatoncheires. That's fun. Well, Uranus really didn't like how big and strong the latter 6 children were. The Cyclopes were all unrivaled blacksmiths, and even their names were menacing. Brontes, Stereopes, Argos. The etymology behind those names meaning thunder, lightning, and bright, in that order. The Hecatoncheires were roided up machines made to fight. Each one had 50 heads and 100 arms, each one unique and capable of independent movement. They were literally giants on top of that. Now as to how they got duped into life sentences in Tartarus, twice, I wouldn't even know where to start. All that being said, Uranus placed each of his kids in cuffs to prevent being overthrown. But as a common theme in Greece, he failed and his son took over. Cronus let them out only to put them back when that same paranoia got to him. That bit him in the ass when the one kid he didn't eat made him throw up the others, and all of them started a war to usurp his reign. Zeus and the Olympians were the children of Cronus, in case you didn't know. Cronus and his 11 titans that backed him absolutely dunked on the Olympians in the first half. So the Olympians did what any sane group of people would do in the situation, and they went to hell. They let out the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, and in exchange, they would all aid their side in the war. The Cyclopes then made the weapons that would turn the tide in their favor forever. Zeus's Master Bolt, Poseidon's Trident, and I guess they liked Hades more than the others because he had 2 artifacts instead of 1, the Helm of Darkness and the Bident of Hades. It was because of these weapons and their aid that the Olympians actually won the Titanomachy. But now that we've gone over the twin sets' origins, let's get into their attested powers and abilities. Each of these artifacts don't have very many abilities to speak on, but the few they do have are potent in their own right, and was a very swaying factor that won the Titanomachy for the Olympians. The Bident of Hades was said to have the capability to cause upheaval upon striking the ground, ergo creating devastating earthquakes on a whim. More importantly though, the Bident represented Hades' authority over the Underworld and the absolute power he held over those within its domain. Souls, spirits, and everything in between were forced into subjugation at Hades' will. Pretty formidable on its own merits, I'd say. Yeah, don't get me wrong, half of this weapon's ability is battlefield-altering effects, but the other half is busted. Dominance over everything to dwell inside the Underworld. The souls of anything dead at your disposal. Mad points right there, man. Now on the flip side, the Helmet of Darkness also only really has 2 notable powers aside from holding back Hades' luscious black locks. Upon donning the helmet, the wearer would be rendered completely invisible to either man or god. Before anyone points out the fact that I did not mention monsters, I will point out that Hades, being the cool uncle type that he is, lent the Helmet of Darkness to Perseus so that he may sneak into the lair of Medusa and her Gorgon sisters. With the helmet, Perseus was able to iconically slay the innocent, did nothing wrong Medusa, and escape her sister's wrath. He's even lent out the helm's power to Athena and Hermes when they've needed it. This is incredibly potent. You're completely invisible and undetectable to anything or anyone. That is all it does for the most part, save for the scattered mention of umbrakinesis. The umbrakinesis is more often than not attributed to Hades alone and not his helmet, so I won't count that. Another thing I won't count, but sorely want to, is the headcanon aesthetic I have for it. Right, so normally the cap looks like dog water. It is generally depicted as a simple bronze cap with slits for the eyes. However, my personal favorite is going to have to be Hades' helmet from God of War 3. Yeah, Perseus in God of War 2 had an invisible cap of similar look and function, but Not only is that unconfirmed and left to the player's inference to figure out, I also think the dubbed Helm of Darkness should have some goddamn menace to it, and in my headcanon, oh, it absolutely does. Goodness, the horns, the underlying hellfire beneath the cold plate, it's raw. Anyway, I think that should bring us to our ranking. For this specific ranking, they will be ranked together. For little more reason than it makes sense to do it that way, and Hades got these gifts as a package deal, so fair is fair. This professional, non-biased analysis brings us to Divine Tier. Wait, Divine Tier? That's cap. That wasn't on the tier list yesterday. Well, that's because I overhauled it today. Let's go, gamers. All I really did was rename some of the tiers and added one above where great used to be. So, kinda like A+ and A- tier now. So in essence, besides Trident and Hades 2 for 2 are an A+, Bow of Apollo is an A-. Why did I put Hades combo and Divine, you may or may not ask? Well, the reasons being, the Helm is completely busted, straight up invis to anything or anyone. On top of that, you can cause earthquakes and earthly chaos on a whim while manipulating souls of the damned to your will. That's infinite ghost soldiers for your draft. What more do you want? Before we head out, I want to point out a few pieces of popular media that either one or both of these divine weapons have been in. God of War 2, as I've mentioned earlier, does have the helm wielded by a certain Perseus, right before Kratos dogs him. The helm is also present in Clash of the Titans 1981 and the Percy Jackson books if you've read those. As for the Bident of Hades, Assassin's Creed Odyssey showcases its version called the Bident of the Underworld, and it's one of the best ones in the game. And yeah, it is also in Percy Jackson, but rather briefly. I'm starting to think what the hell isn't in that series, not that it's a bad thing, I stand for those books. Anyway, for this episode of AotG, that will wrap it up. Thank each and every one of you for watching, it means the world to me. Let me know what you thought in the comments and leave a like if you enjoyed. Till next time, everybody. Peace.